Alrighty then. What is going on, y'all? What a crazy afternoon. Crazy morning. I guess it's crazy. Already feels like the afternoon. 1,200 points on NASDAQ and 200 points on ES. 200 plus points. Absolutely insane action. Welcome to Coronavirus 2.0. It's good to be here. VIX is up, was up at least 140%. Now it's 135. It was at 63, I think it got to. Just kind of teetering just under the coronavirus high of like 84, give or take. Crazy, crazy price action. I wanted to jump on here to kind of go over. This is the time for extreme risk management. This is not the time to be slinging big minis. Conversely, I want to do my best to tamp down any holy crap I made this much money. Like, this is not the time to be patting ourselves in the back and yelling about how much money we made, because I don't want to induce FOMO. There's going to be a lot of people FOMOing at this price action. It's going to be extravagant, so let's keep our heads together and let's do some fancy trading. 51.64 on ES here. VIX is still skyrocketing. Let me load the right chart, because this is definitely not the right chart. Load. Top monitor 6-pack. I need to change that to an 8-pack. Yeah, NKD almost went down 7%. S&P is down a lot. Remember, the limit is 7% for the circuit breaker. So in the event that we get crazy and we drop to 7%, they will close the markets, I think, for 15 minutes. I forget what it is. Check me on that if anybody knows. So craziness, man. Craziness. 15 minutes, yeah. So there's not necessarily news. It's just the it's the conditions of the market. You know, this was presented for a drawdown, and this is getting pretty spicy. So I didn't think it was going to happen this quick, but holy crap. 51.61 on ES here. In terms of bookmap liquidity, we have some 51.12 liquidity overall, pretty light under the circumstances so far. Let me load NASDAQ here. There's the market open right there. Dropping back over. NASDAQ is pretty much splattered all over the place. Options chains. The option chain is going to be incredibly, incredibly expensive. So I would recommend staying off of options today unless you've got a pretty sizable account. IV is going to be jacked to the gills. Obviously, volatility VIX is incredibly high. Right now, premiums, I mean, you're looking at... Hold on, let me load the SPX here. I was on the NASDAQ. Oh, man. Taking forever to load. Wouldn't a reversal to be as equally as expected monsters? Yeah. So when the market is doing stuff like this, you're going to have obscene shifts in price action, up and down. I mean, NASDAQ is putting on 100-point candles here on the 5-minute. In a blink of an eye, 100-point candles. So it's going to be obscene, and I would expect the unexpected. NASDAQ here is still defending some pretty key levels. If you know, you know. ES is doing the same thing. Overall, they're down over 220 points. I believe this is the biggest candle on the daily since the green candle of the CPI of November of 2022, and before that, it was obviously coronavirus. What's up, YouTube? How's everybody doing? How's everybody doing? Yeah. I'm all jacked up on Mountain Dew. Absolutely. Alrighty. Yeah, Nvidia down 14%, Tesla's down 11%, Microsoft 5%, Apple 9%, Amazon 7.3%, Google is down 6%. So crazy, crazy stuff here. So honestly, I'm just going to kind of let this thing go out about here. I've got one trade, which is a short NASDAQ. I'm not touching options. I haven't traded options this today because things are so incredibly spicy. I have, however, went and looked at how much the premiums were for the September puts I was holding that I closed last week. That feels great. If we get an unexpected rate cut, what do you expect the market to do? It'll be incredible downside if that happens. I don't think that'll happen. I think that's just a bunch of yapping. I don't think the damage is that quite severe yet for an emergency rate cut. You can't go from things are fine to holy crap, the sky's falling in one day. Now, if this continues, yeah, I think we could see an emergency rate cut if we were to have another couple of days like this, in my opinion. But definitely right now, the time for options trading, if you're not in a trade already from a swing, I would not really venture too far into the options game today. Make sure you stick to futures, stick to stocks. It's fine. The market's moving so egregiously that you can play stocks and make some decent money with these moves. When we look at the SR levels I posted today, the range on them is extreme. Usually I'm in like a 50 to 75% increments. Now I'm in like $3 to $4 increments per level. It's because the movement's so egregious. The Dodgement Duns. Yeah, I personally think that the high is in for the year with this move. I don't think the market will be able to recover this move again. I closed my put. The profits were just too much not to take. Absolutely. Do you mean shorting the stocks? I mean, whatever you need to do. Like, whatever trade you want to take, I would play stocks. Either short the stock or long the stock. Either one. I would do that. I would just stick to stocks. Webull is down. IBKR can't log in either. Brokerages are pooping in their pants. Maybe. Maybe. Alrighty then. Let me recage my charts here. I had another one open, so I had a duplicate open. That's why you were looking at a blank screen, because I was adjusting the wrong one. Let's see, Apple down to 205. There we go. Now we're set up. I can't get it to a 401 count either. Do not try to time the market, they said. Bought everything weak go for long term. Yeah. Based on historic data, how long will the VIX stay up like this? Is it okay to just stay in the steins and not trade until VIX comes down? Yeah, I mean, go back and again, I would reference the mecca of all major sell-offs, which is coronavirus. Go look what happened with coronavirus. Is that the huge spike and the huge roll-off? Did this really start because of Japan? Not reading the reason, but a push downward, a domino. I think that was the domino effect. There were so many different things lined up that would cause pressure. It's one of the reasons I took the put in July there. It's one of the reasons why I'm looking to put on hedges for my long-term port, because everything was starting to align. And I think the Japan intervention initiated all of this. That's why the JPY yen rate is getting destroyed. Yen's rocketing. Bonds are absolutely flying. Yields are down 5%. Equities and precious metals are getting destroyed. And it's because of that this kind of like pushed things over the edge and snowballed. And down we go. It's all about conditions. It's all about conditions. Mr. Grammar Police. I do think we'll experience more downside. That is not without any kind of major shakeout bounces, because the volatility, if you're going to play volatility like this, it comes with the upside and downside. Remember, go back and look at coronavirus. In the middle of that huge sell-off, we still had massive upside days. So it still comes with major, major upside days. So just all I'm saying here is be very careful. This is not the time to be slinging max position sizing. Good thing you didn't short the VIX. Although I will. When I see the signs of it, I will short the crap out of the VIX on this move, because that'll happen so fast. Not sure if you saw my DM. Yeah, I believe I took care of that. Yep. Arctic Wolf. Shoot me your Discord name, because I've had to deal with the linking bot that links the account access to the Discord is down, so I've got a help ticket out to fix it. So I'm having to manually add roles. So I apologize for that. But shoot me a DM, and I'll make sure I check on it right now. Liquidity down to 51.12, 51.15 down to 50.98. Nasdaq here has got liquidity down into 17.375. Do you still hold your Nasdaq shorts? Yes. I've trimmed some of them, but I'm still in them. Made my whole week. You're back. I love you, man. What's up, Trader J? My boy. Can't get into my account. Yeah, apparently some brokerages are having some problems. Follow the big money. Bonds and treasuries have massive volume. Yeah, they did. The highest volume of all time. If you go look at TLT, the largest volume of all time on Friday. I will never do another spec play in Webull. I'll just keep an eye on IBKR. Can't exit my put. Yeah, a lot of brokerages are down right now. Think about the activity that's going on right now in the exchanges. Everybody and their mother is flooding into their brokerages right now to either close or buy or do whatever they need to do. So right now the exchanges are going to be overran. And wait until we actually do continue capitulation and cause fear in the market when we induce some selling. This is just pre-market stuff. Thanks for sharing Michael Gadd's thesis. So swung appropriately sized puts over the weekend. Weekly goal met. Beautiful. Crazy, crazy stuff. NASDAQ has already bounced almost 500 points since the bottom. That's how egregious these moves are. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. What's happening to NASDAQ bookmap? Liquidity went weird. Well, it's just shaking and baking. Shaking and baking. You know, right now it's just the option. You have to realize that we are opening at levels we have not seen for months. So there's very little structure down here until they open the market, and now we can pile in. And order flow can start to hit the tape. We just opened up at, April levels. In fact, we also got down to January levels. So it's crazy. What's your stop loss for NASDAQ? Right now, I'm just playing it by ear. I've already trimmed out most of my profit. I'm holding a couple. Anything beyond this, I'll probably go ahead and just trim the runners too. I'm just playing this one by ear. Premium went from 166 down to 111 and dropping. IBKR for the win. The position will already drop another 50%. Yeah, that's why you don't touch options right now. Recommend staying away from options. The credit spread trader means drooling over the premium. Yep. Man, we're missing these moves. We ain't missing nothing. You don't feel so good? What's up, Arthur? Yeah, this is where it helps to really be able to have a good brokerage. It's all fun and games having Robinhood until something like this happens. And one, they don't allow you to close positions or short sell. And two, you can't even get into your broker. Got lucky and closed my leap put in Webull before anything broke. Nice. Execute all my trades nicely on Schwab. Robinhood's actually working. Nice. How can that not be illegal? Because it's not, they claim it's not intentional. It's just a system glitch, system error. But we all know that's nonsense. Have I been adding TLT shares? I have not. I've been what the Texans call big hat, no cattle with TLT. I've been talking about TLT a lot, but I haven't touched it yet, unfortunately. Took out a VIX Lotto, put on VIX for August 13th, 20 strike. That's not a bad idea. I'm going to hold off a little bit on that trade, but I'm thinking of taking a very similar trade. Except not with probably puts. I'm going to do VIX Futures. Play the decay down on the VIX Futures. But you got to be very delicate with that position. My broker just raised margins to 100%. There you go. That usually happens in signs of volatility. So here comes NASDAQ dripping back over right now. ES is starting to do the same, 51.86. They've already bounced off 24. The VIX futures is VX. The VIX index is VIX. And the VIX of the VIX is VVIX, which is also probably going to print a new all-time high too. But somebody asked earlier, why are the precious metals tanking alongside of everything else? And my follow-up question to that was, what's the only thing that's rocketing right now besides the VIX? And that's the bonds. The answer to that is the bonds. The bonds are flying right now because money is scrambling to get into a safe trade, which is TLT. When that happens, there's a massive outflow of everything. It's just How quickly can I get out? Can I liquidate out and then get into cash positions and put my money in TLT bonds? And not just TLT, but the bond market in general, treasury market in general, which is sitting at pretty much all-time lows for a very extended period of time. And so that's the point. This initial move, keyword, there's initial move, you're going to see market-wide, carpet-wide selling on everything. And then once things kind of settle and people figure out what's going on, then you're going to start to see the normal protection trades start to come to fruition, like possibly the gold trade starting to come back up, etc., etc. But right now, everybody and their mother's looking at the bonds. The bonds have been in a historically long bear market. They haven't bounced until now. So now everyone's, all right, well, here comes the rotations, flight to safety trade, and up we go. VIX puts are 1600. Yep. That's why it's going to be difficult to play VIX puts, because IV is going to be jacked to the gills, premiums are going to be jacked to the gills, and you're going to have a lot of roll-off in order to get those things profitable. So I would recommend VIX futures, if anything, or selling VIX calls, which is a dangerous proposition unless you've got a significantly large account. With talks about emergency rate cut, what are your thoughts? I do not think they'll rate cut unless this gets worse. I don't think they'll do an emergency rate cut unless they get worse. You have to realize, back in 2008, they didn't pull an emergency rate cut until after the market had already sold off like 60%, 50%. It was all the way on down there before they pulled out a rate cut out of their booty. So I don't think that happens. Not on this one day. I mean, I guess it could, but I just don't think it's going to happen, not until things get worse. There's a lot of ramifications for an emergency rate cut, and they have to be prepared to kind of rip that Band-Aid off and take that. Rate cut out of the booty. Yeah, that's right. Can't log into Thinkorswim. That's no good. $17,825. 131 points, 1 minute candles. Yeah, they're crazy. Crazy. Totally drink coffee. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm telling you, man, don't do options. Don't do options. I'm glad y'all are getting to experience this, because this is what we saw in the coronavirus crash. Is options were so incredibly priced that you can't play them. And people are like, oh, I would have played 0 DTEs and made a ton of money. Well, look at it now. Look at me now. Sorry. It's a good song. I can't rap as fast as Busta, so I'm not even going to try it. Come back up 18,000. VIX 4610. VIX is already off from 65 to 46. Apple and Nvidia are both rocketing. I need to go look at Trady Ticks. I haven't even opened that thing up yet today. I bet you we'll have another roll over here momentarily after the morning. The morning shakeout right here, baby. So much selling, and now they're buying up everything, closing out short positions. We just went from 17,360 to 17,880, which is 20 points, which already, that's a phenomenally large move. That would already be blowing people's hair back in a normal environment. It'll pay you handsomely to provide it, but you need to be able to defend it. Love it. 23% due to inability to close position. Unfortunately, 20% taking their money back. Yeah. Yep. All right. Right now we have some put selling going on here, which should be expected at this point. SPX has liquidity all over the freaking books, from 4,700 to 5,315. GEX all over the books. Insane. Massive put buying on Apple right now. Massive. Massive. Apparently, a lot of people's brokerages are not doing well. Twitter and on YouTube. The U.S. yield curve has turned positive for the first time since 2022, so we are officially uninverted for the first time in a while. Oh, nope. It reinverted, it looks like, temporarily. Yeah, temporarily reinverted. But it's kind of at that balance point. Unburdened, yeah. Is it more than just Schwab TOS? It looks like a couple of different brokerages, yeah. Yeah. Even ES is up almost 100 points off of lows, from 51.20 to 52.10. The September SPX puts was 23,000. Yeah, tell me about it. I've already looked at them. That'd have been an absolutely incredible play. Incredible play. Can this buy itself back up to 0%? No, but it can put on some pretty egregious moves. That's why I'm saying don't expect anything. Expect the unexpected. Apple's rallying here too. This is just the morning shakeout right here. After so much selling, there's going to be a massive amount of short covering, people trying to buy the dip, that type of stuff. So just take it. Luckily enough, is that you don't have to catch every move. With these candles being so wide, the spreads are so ridiculous on these candles that you just catch one good qualified move and you can make your day, make your week, make your month. You don't need much. And then if you happen to hold throughout an entire process, then you can make your quarter. Are we blaming Ru hacking or China for hacking brokerages? I suppose it's possible, but I haven't heard anything around the tape for that yet. VIX is rounding back over to 43.59 as well. Why was France a disaster? Oh. 84% IV on the XPX options chain here, 45% at the money premiums. Wow. Cray cray. Alrighty. Man, the most people I've had on the YouTube stream in a long time. I guess people are finally reinvigorated with the market action. Crazy stuff. All right, so we are coming back up to the overnight pivot here, the 0500 pivot, about 52.20. Any significant news today? I don't think so. Last I checked, there wasn't much going on today. I'll go look again. I know this week is a pretty dud week in terms of catalysts, official catalyst, that is. At what point do you think the VIX would be prudent to buy more puts? That I don't know. Are you talking about puts on the VIX? I would be very careful buying anything on the VIX other than futures. It took VIX over 65 to get people back here. Yeah. Tell me about it. RTY is recovering nicely. NASDAQ is recovering nicely. Man, incredible. 52.21, and that is an official 100-point bounce on ES. Crazy. SPX puts. I'll let you know. I'm not sure, because I'm going to be looking for the same thing myself. NASDAQ. Stock market hit a record after record this year, buoyed by falling inflation and growing sense of Fed will shift to rate cuts. We can boost course profits. Stocks have always been flying because of high bets on tech companies involved in artificial manufacturing. But the Fed didn't cut rates as many had hoped. Friday's jobs are stiffly weaker. I don't agree with any of that, honestly, if I'm being completely honest. That makes sense. That's a retail explanation of why the markets were rocketing, and it had nothing to do with AI. I was just listening to the stream, but now looking at the charts. Is that 500-point candle on Nasdaq? Yep. Nasdaq is up already 500 points. ES is already up by 100. You're welcome, Matt. ES top wick here, holding. Getting ready to start managing some additional exposure here. ES has up into 52.56, 51.15. Can you explain your long-term port hedges? A firm. So it's basically just logging a long, a far outside, a far expiration put, probably 8 to 12 months out, and just using as collateral to short against if need be. AI attack from Skynet. Tinfoil hat accepted. Nice. VIX is currently 90% long calls. Great time to counter. The 10-year and 30-year auctions. Yeah, so those two events are the only major events this week. The 10-year auction and the 30-year auction. Everything else is pretty much the same old stuff we get every week. So I would pay close attention to those two events. I believe, let me go check exactly which day they are. Man, my internet's running super slow. I don't know if that's correlated, but I can't get crap to load. Hold on a second. All right, the 10-year auction is on Wednesday. The 30-year auction is on Thursday. Today, we have ISM manufacturing in 4 minutes, and then Fed Daily speaking later this afternoon. But I would expect some sort of comments from some individual at some point today about this stuff. Yeah, NKD is down almost 7%. They were down almost 10%, and they've been freaking sliding all night long. You know, they sold off from 34,000. They dropped down to 30,700, and now they're back up to 32. So they got absolutely smoked. They're down still 6.8%. Euros are down 3. ES is down 3.2, and Nasdaq is down 3.6. But they were down a lot more too. They were down almost 7%. Here comes another top wick right here. It's gonna be crazy right here. Imagine video rejection top wicks. Well, right now there's major put buying on Apple, so I'm just saying don't. Today's not the day to write anything off. That's for sure. Change SPX 5315. Apple, Nvidia, Meta all put buying. Coin is strong call buying today. Earnings on Nvidia coming up too. Yep. I won one time at the casino today. I think I might take 1 or 2 more trades. Nothing wrong with that. All right, 5202. We are rejecting this pivotal level at the moment here. So I'm going to zoom out. We have 60-minute candles. We have a nice top wick off this area, which was the prior pivot. So far on the 60-minute, this is the highest opening candle since as far back as I can even scroll on the 60-minute. So we will see. Then one position, it got smoked. SMH. 5202 here. $53.25 today. I would be surprised to see that. Although I guess I expect the unexpected, but I would be surprised to see that big of a move back up. 52.60, 52.50 liquidity, and 51.12. When asked about emergency rate cut, everything is being on the table, including raisings and cuts. No way. No way. Well, that's insane. Is it too late to buy TLT calls? I don't think so. I mean, obviously there's going to be a lot of fluctuations, but I don't think so. I've been trading since 2020, and I'm wrong. Am I wrong to think this is one of the biggest down days that has occurred? Yes. No, you're not wrong. I feel like I haven't seen these type of days in a while. Now, I believe this is the biggest down overnight session since coronavirus. I know in 2022 we had some pretty spicy moves, but I think this one is the biggest pre-market since coronavirus. Not the overall finish, but the pre-market. This is definitely the biggest VIX since coronavirus. So just keep an eye on things here. We're not even through the first 30 minutes, and we have data in less than 60 seconds. What would Linda do? Indeed, what would Linda do? 1987, we had a negative 20% on Dow, if I remember right. That was spicy. Oh, man. I can't imagine. She would go ride her horses. Yeah. Doesn't feel safe to trade with VIX this high. Oh, you got to be very careful. You've got to be very careful. Here comes the red back over. Beautiful. Here's the data. Top of the hour. Oh, green. Back up. Nasdaq is 18,000 again, and already that's a 150-point candle. Watch out for the pump and dump. Good gosh. Good gosh. What is driving the fear? Conditions. The breakdown of conditions. Wow. I'm in Southwest Connecticut where a wild storm ran through Saturday. There's actually a tornado. Half my town lost power. That's crazy. Man, look at that. Hope everybody's okay. Watch this candle close at the moment right here. All we need is 550 points for a V recovery. Yeah. I mean, that does sound like a lot, but we've already done. I mean, Nasdaq is already up 700 points already. I unplugged my speakers yesterday. Yeah. Crazy. Crazy stuff. Numerous brokerages are reporting outage errors and downtime. That's why nobody can short sell anymore. Nobody can get out. They're going to rally this thing. Fidelity, E-Trade, Schwab, all glitching. IBKR sometimes. TOS. I'm going. Like I said earlier, watch all the brokerage platforms get miraculously fixed, and everyone can log on. Now it's almost closing the gap with them individual stocks. Yep. I think somebody asked me a question. I forgot to answer it though. How is it all legal? All right, here we go. How do brokers get away with technical difficulty stuff every time the market moves big? What they're doing is keep people from getting out of the market and closing out profitable trades. They did this a lot around the pandemic. And coincidentally, after the move back up, all of a sudden, all the so-called technical difficulties will miraculously be fixed. No, I think you're 100% right. 100% right. It's definitely. I mean, all those brokerages connect to the exchanges. You know, it's all single point of failure. I mean, there's a couple of different exchanges out there, but they all pretty much funnel back to the same stuff. So all somebody has to do is just kind of remove the little component red, white, and yellow cord in the back. The coaxial cable. The T1 cable. Na. 52.54 up here. All right, VIX dropping down to 39 again. So far, nice recovery here. RTY's recovered back up 20.041. VIX has rolled off from 65 down to 38. Sometimes they protect themselves from themselves. Yeah. Wow. That already was a 60-point candle, eating up into this 52.50. Right now, the change in GEX is higher. Oh, nope, not anymore. It was after the day before the data. Now it's, nope, still 53.15. Let me verify this. Refresh. Yeah, 53.15 is still the overall GEX change at the moment. SPY is 510. QQQ is 440. The flow right now is still put selling. So what we're seeing here is a lot of popping out some shorts, people getting out of profits here. I still don't see a lot of call buying at the moment. So can't believe Robinhood's still up. Yeah, so we have this massive order here at 53.30, about 4,000 orders. And I think that's it for data today. Yeah, we have a couple of 6-month auctions later at 11:30, but that's it. All right. Oh man, my monosar rebud. Yep. I learned during the pandemic when trading, anytime you think there could be a big move coming, you hold overnight. Set a limit order overnight at your price target. And when the brokers do this, whether their system is down or not, they have to honor your preset limit order. There you go. So the upside still flowing here. ES is still going. NASDAQ is still climbing higher here. Not going to lie, I am sitting here watching this, which I'm perfectly fine with at the moment. But I'll get me in something here. What platform am I using? TOS is still down, and I need to make the switch. I am using IBKR. As of this morning, obviously I'm no longer in a trade. I closed out everything this morning. I was able to execute fine, but at the moment I'm not trying to execute, so I don't know. So far, my data is shifting fine. You know, my data feed is fine. It looks like, but again, I don't know if I should be relieved or upset that I can't trade today because I'm driving 7 hours. There you go. Let's see, SPX. Yeah, so 5085 is GEX on SPX. Just rolled off 53.15. I faded that on MQ, entered 18090. Nice. TOS said it's actually on the issue on CME's end. Yeah, it's the feeds. It's the feeds. So, all right. Man, these are crazy candles. Crazy candles. Definitely a day for micros, especially if you're trading your props. Especially if you're trading your props. Let's see, you got a little green. crazy. In spite of all this action, I'm still in the money on my covered calls. Nice. Very cool. A lot more red coming off. There we go. Excellent. Too bad you closed those September puts. That's okay. That's still a fantastic trade. I think more importantly for me is the thesis worked out. And I got my licks in, I got my money, but I read the market freaking perfectly, and that to me is a more of a pat on the back for myself because the price action reading is fantastic. So I'll take it. I don't expect to catch every single cent of every move. If I did that, then I mean, heck, I need to be on Wall Street. I know in these crazier days it's been harder to log in around the market open, but it usually resolved itself. Yeah. Past 2 evals in the drop right there. Nice AR. Due to market volatility, we have increased intraday margins to 5 times usual rate. Yep, that's pretty on par with the course. NASDAQ is rejecting macro here at 1805 and coming off. Nice. Nice rejection. GEX has dropped back down. So we are looking for a little move here. Like I said, I didn't see any call buying on this move up, strictly put selling. So if that were to reverse and the put buying starts to pick up again, then I would expect another drop here on the market. I'll let you know when I see that. What was your reasoning for closing out those longer dated puts? The massive upside move. That day we had the massive green. I just didn't like it, so I closed out for 137%. Well, when was that? That was a couple of weeks. That was about a week ago now at this point. I was down $850 this morning on my 10K account. I've done nothing but sit and watch, and now I'm only down 311. Don't get panicky. There you go. NASDAQ just dropped back over again, about 200 points. It's crazy. These 5-minute candles are freaking huge. They look like 10-point candles, but they're 100-point candles. Were there any VPA signals on this? I mean, yeah, the trend was still down. We had no bottom wick on Friday, so this buyers never popped in under incredibly high volume. So yeah, it had continuation written all over it. Now, expecting this big of a move, I don't think anyone could expect that, but a continued downside, yeah, the signs were there. Does IBKR trade options in pre-market? Yes, they do. You can trade SPX all night long on IBKR. Not SPY, but SPX. That's why I do it. Very insightful Tier 2 call yesterday. You're welcome, AR. ES is already 1.5 million volume. Yeah, you should probably see a pretty extravagant volume today. I took an NVIDIA call at the open for a nice profit. Beautiful. Am I an SPX put still? No, I've never opened an SPX put. I'm not touching options today. I bought 10 920 SPY 600 calls for 1 cent, currently at 2,000%. Nice. Any trade to get in right now? I think the time's coming here to take an entry. I'm just being as patient as I can to get through the first half hour, which we have already done. The morning range is just simply ridiculous. We're dealing with a 700-point morning range on NASDAQ, so. Let's see. I definitely recommend staying away from options unless you want to, play with that kind of IV and premiums. Sticking to purely futures. And I'm watching Apple closely because there's a lot of put flow rolling in on Apple, and they are still hanging out at 210 with an incredibly large green move at the open here. So if they start to roll off here and do the same old shenanigans, then we could still see a lot more volatility to the downside here. Just be careful. The put buying is starting to trim up to tick up here and still go back into call selling. $50.85. We have a nice qualified top wick on the hourly chart. We still have major put buying on Apple. massive top wicks on the 15 minute. So we have top wick, top wick, top wick, which means, oh, I just lost my feed on IBKR. Yeah, I just lost my feed on IBKR. So we just had 3 top wicks in a row on the 15 minute. Even though there's major upside, all 3 15-minute candles were top wicked, which shows that the buyers have weakness and the sellers are still strong. They're selling into strength. So when you see the seller into strength category, that's not really conducive for major upside. Not yet, at least. Warren Buffett sold a bunch of his Apple. Yep. What's up, Mike? Yeah, a lot of people are having problems getting into their brokerages. TOS is one of them. So just play with caution if you're holding positions. Alrighty. $517.64. Your broadcast is coming in and out a couple times this morning. Not sure if it's you or me, but your connection not IPKR. I don't know. Maybe. I know my internet was running a little slower earlier. You lose data and we bottom wick. Hard to play if you can't get in. Absolutely. Absolutely. So we're still pinned 517.40 here on SPY. ES is 52.18, bottom wicked again, but still mixed in. If you look on the 5 minute, I mean, we're swapping massive red and green candles here. NASDAQ is doing the same, except they're doing 100-point candles. 17,950. I looked at your VIX over 85 Rona week in March 20. SPX fluctuated all over the map, hundreds of points during the week surrounding that spike, more the same. I agree. Yeah, there's going to be a lot of green intertwined with a lot of red. I have no idea what to expect going into December, though, man. It's going to be, we have so much on the hot plate that I don't know what to expect. I think the overall effect will be 25 to 35% drawdown. I mean, heck, we're already down, what, 12% on ES already? I do think eventually we'll head down there, but man, we've got, presidency change. We have brewing war in the Middle East. And then, of course, the cut cycle actually coming to fruition. It's going to be nuts. Delete, don't need any of that. Delete all that. So we'll come back up to 18,000. Still on a pretty strong uptrend channel here on NASDAQ from the lows. So we haven't really taken out a prior low yet. So if NASDAQ fails this little green, we need to retake out about 865 to start to look for that pressure. Right now we're still holding the uptrend. That's why we're bottom wicking this on the move up here, is that they're still squeezing out positions on the upside. A friend sent me a Michael Guyad video this morning about the Japan carry trade currency crisis. I've heard you reference him before. Thoughts on his take? I think he's right on the money. I think that, he's been right on the money. And if it wasn't for him, nobody would know about the carry trade. People have called him wrong and, a shyster and all this stuff, but he's never once called the top, and he's never once called out a play or told people to short. All he's saying is that the conditions are set up for this. What people don't realize or remember is Michael Burry. They all say, well, he made a ton of money in 2008, but how long was he wrong before he was right? How much money did he lose before he was actually right? And still people think he was a genius. A shyster, yeah. What ticker am I looking at for NASDAQ? NQ. NQ. Is there a reason the market dropped so hard today? Yeah. Go take a look at the USD yen rate exchange. You'll see that one's tanking. So a lot of Japan intervention, and the money's flowing out of equities into bonds. It's a funnel down effect to trim positions and take all the profit out of the equities and put it into the treasuries. What was Michael calling the top? What's up with that? Right. Another sell side iceberg here on Bookmap. We have still the main huge level at 53.28. Yields are treated like meme stocks. Yeah. They've trimmed a lot of the downside here. They went from 3.6 up to 3.8. Maybe it's that talk of the rate, a possible rate hike, which is crazy. Hopefully not. What is the answer to that? How much did he lose before that win? I mean, he was down. I mean, I don't know the exact amount, but hundreds of millions of dollars before the market actually finally started to drop. And he had to hold it for, what, 18 months before the market actually dropped? My mind drifted. Did you give NVIDIA options flow? NVIDIA right now is put flows. Apple is egregious put flow, the largest one by far. And now we're finally starting to pick up put buying on the S&P. SPX GEX right now change is 5085. I think he started taking the position in 2005. Yeah, so he had to hold it for a long time. He was getting sued. Looking for Burry's drawdown, but I can't find it. In the movie, it was like 30%. It did make a good movie, yeah. All right, here's the retest pop here on ES. So we had that little drop from 10 o'clock to 10:10. And now here's the retest, the pop back up. And if this fails, it's time to look for downside. If this fails. Biden's top economic advisor is leaving the White House today. He was like, screw this, I'm out. I don't blame him. That's hilarious. I just picture him like throwing his papers up in the air. Like, I'm done with this. 52.20. Man, Apple's the only one that hasn't really felt any pain today. Microsoft is about doing just the same, but they had a little bit more selling this morning, but they've recouped a lot of it. you may have said this, but what's the reason for gold and silver dropping? And it's a good idea to trade them for the upside potential. I do think eventually gold will start to trend back up. In my opinion, the reason why everything dropped is because of the rotation. People were selling everything to get into bonds, and they were trying to just crack any liquidity they can for that. That's my 2 cents on it. I like to keep things simple. I'm sure there's a very technical explanation of why that happened, but I like to think in very like caveman thought. And that's what my caveman brain thinks of, is that they're selling everything in order to fund their trade into bonds, especially after such an elevated move on gold and silver. Picked a bad day to stop sniffing glue. Keep your losses small. That's right. That's right. $54.32. NASDAQ is 18 again, bottom wicking still. 52.14. Any plays I'm thinking of? Yeah, I'm going to get something on here. I'm waiting for this 30-minute here to close. We have some nice top wicks on the 30-minute. Beautiful top wicks. Made 4 in a row major top wicks. So the sellers are still using every pop to dump, which doesn't make me think that this is a huge move up. Anytime you see that the higher price is using liquidity to dump, it's not necessarily what I'm looking for more upside. All it is liquidity to transact their sell orders. Watch Apple, strong put flow, 5085 SPX GEX. Right here. Coming on down, SPX 5173, ES 5200. Already that's a 30-point move down. I mean, there's 30-point candles. Every candle on the ES is our normal daily range. It's crazy. If we're lucky, Kamala will calm the markets by explaining the verse carry trade. That's hilarious. Thank God for IBKR. We built a joke. Like to inform you of an important disable intraday margin rates. Yeah, I mean, they have to protect themselves. You think they're going to let some jabroni with 100% margin just go start slinging margin? Yeah, they got to protect themselves. You can margin call somebody, but if they ain't going to pay it, they ain't going to pay it. Do you still apply the opening range break? I do, but this is a pretty incredible opening range, which is still applicable. Doesn't mean it's not applicable. You just have to be a lot more patient because the range is so freaking huge. I mean, we're dealing with a 110-point range on ES and 500 points on NASDAQ. What's up, Curtis? Is today a day to stay out? Maybe not. I mean, I personally love playing volatility, but today's a day to be patient. Don't let the 5-minute candles stop you out, and keep your position sizing small. You don't need to trade huge position size to make a lot of money today. You could trade a couple of micros, wait for a good opportunity on entry, and you could still make great money. I mean, NASDAQ's printing 100-point 5-minute candles here. Bearing all that is going on, do you think 88 would be a fair price for a few shares in Nvidia? Well, if you want to talk long-term stuff, absolutely. You know, I don't. You know, right now all of my downside thesis is strictly through the eyes of a day trader. But if you want to talk about longing, this is all about just getting ready to start piling money. And I had literally this morning having coffee with Mrs. OM. I had the conversation with her. Says we need to start allocating money for the big drop. Because when the big drop happens, I'm buying everything and everything. Anything and everything. And I'm going to kick back, and that's it, man. I told you all that I'm going to liquidate about 80% of my day trading portfolio, in addition to any cash I could conjure up, and throw it in SPY. And that's it. I'd recommend you all do the same thing. Are my SLGI papers up to date? Why? There's something I need to know about, Tim? Why SPY and not the Qs? I do allocate some to the Qs, but I'm a SPY guy. You know, I'm an S&P guy. I'm a long term. I mean, Qs are a great way too, but me personally, I love the S&P. All right, here's another top wick NASDAQ dropping back over. Yeah, I think we're about to roll back over here. VIX is starting to base. Apple's rolling over. Just asking about asking. I love it. I have to keep my eye on Tim. I do have an updated SGLI, though. Yes, SLGI. Stuff is crazy, man. You pay like $30 and you get almost $600,000 of coverage. Top wick 17,897. Here comes the rollover temporarily for here. So great. If we take out the 7,868, 17,868 on NASDAQ, that'll break the prior support, and it's time to start looking for a roll back down into at least the 700 area. When do you anticipate the big drop will happen? Well, my main thesis was anywhere between 6 to 12 months in that area that we would start to see some major selling and the VIX go to 50. I did not think the VIX was going to go to 50 this quick. So that's surprising. I still think we're going to face a lot more downside in the upcoming months. I don't know what's in store for the VIX now that it's already tapped 50. So I don't know. Here comes the red NASDAQ, large red candle. 30-minute, we now have 3 in a row, major top wicks. Playing down here. Brokers now restoring normal margin levels. There you go. Stay safe if it goes down. Absolutely. I've got a pretty safe job in that term though. So in those realms. Do you think the Fed will do QE to stabilize market? Not yet. Eventually, yes, they absolutely will. But not yet. Well, eventually they'll say they will. Whether or not they actually do it. MNQ is moving like NASDAQ on a normal day. Yeah, you don't have to trade minis today. Trade micros. On down. Look at the 5-minute algo, though. 10:30 hit, 5-minute algo shift, immediate green. So I know Robert was starting to catch on to that last week. The 5-minute algorithm shifted right at 10:30 and right at prior support of about 868, 860. So if we've top wick and fail this candle, then we're going to have some little confidence playing on down to probably 700 on NASDAQ. Right now, they're still put buying, and GEX is 50s85. Major put buying on Apple, Nvidia, Meta. I never try to enter a position if new candle's about to start. I think that's a great concept. If you are a scalper, you have to be very careful not to be entering just as a new candle is going to start, especially if it's on the 5-15 cycle. If you're starting to catch a candle that's right at the 5 and 15 culmination, then I wouldn't take a trade until after that candle starts. How do you personally feel on the changing world order? And where do you think it sits currently in that cycle? Well, people who know me feel like I know that I'm not really pro-government. I'm quite the opposite because I see what's happening here. And I'll kind of leave it at that. I think it's very obvious what's occurring here throughout this whole process. So let's just say I have plenty of rice and beans in a vacuum pack packages somewhere in my house. NASDAQ is 17,900, and we have 51.17 liquidity on the downside. Militaries know that mil-spec isn't exactly top-notch. No, quite the opposite, actually. Mil-spec is quite the opposite. Most of the time. Why do you think a lot of special forces counter-snipers in the military, they bring their own personal equipment, or they buy personal civilian equipment and have it shipped over there to use? Because mil-spec crap is most of the time garbage. And I can attest to that perfectly because I have a whole kit. I have a whole contingency kit in my closet with a go bag with all military gear, and it's all crap. It's all crap. Let's try our chicken delivery next week for our starter coop. Comes in next week. Nice, Kennedy. All right, here's the top wick again. This should, if it fails, send us lower. Another top wick off of 868, coming on down. I store my food supply in the barn. I let it consume oxygen and grass to feed. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's as needed. As needed food supply. I love it. I still have MREs from the 90s. Yeah, my oldest MREs are from 2010. Do you like to see a touch and weakness rejection to enter or a sweep of SR flip? It really depends. I like to see, like right here, we had the retest failure at 1020 and then roll back over. And here we are testing the micro support at 868, 862 on NASDAQ. And if this one fails, that means we've cleared out supply or cleared out demand, and we have initiated the micro markdown phase here. I was in the Marine Corps. I can agree with that. Hoorah, baby. Absolutely. Did you have a bad boating accident? Something like that, yeah. Pumping up on a large scale. We just got a freeze dryer and enjoying that for food preservation. Nice, Slimy. Very cool. I don't have a freeze dryer yet, but I do have a vacuum packer. $52.10. My brother-in-law found a Costco receipt from 2000 from Beat from 2000 from that was $230. They bought 3 years later. It's $400. Yep. Surprised it's not more than that. Still holding the 868 support. NASDAQ is back and forth in this range here. So they entered into this range at 10 o'clock, and we've been back and forth on NASDAQ on the 5 minute. So still haven't really continued the trend one way or the other. And I want to wait for my confirmation to break support or resistance to take a trade here. Can we buy some of your equipment back from the Taliban? Oh my gosh. Worked with FEMA once and they accidentally left a few cases of MREs in my truck. Yeah. Military don't care about this stuff, man. I'm telling you, we had an instance once where an office was closing and rearranging, and they threw out the entirety of their contents in their closet, which was brand new. What's it called? Bunch of brand new equipment, cases, gun cases, ammo storage units, cleaning equipment, like all this kind of stuff. They just threw it out in the dumpster. Pelican cases, all brand new Pelican cases of various different sizes. Yeah, it's crazy. They don't care. So the upside of move here to break out is about 1840. The downside move to break down is about 860, 868 on NASDAQ. On ES, that'd be crazy if they pinned this here all day. To the upside on ES is between 5230 and under 5188. Be patient. That's why I say we could probably cut the DoD budget without sacrificing national security. Oh, absolutely we can. Before I was a pilot, I was a contracting officer, which means I wrote contracts to buy stuff, services and goods, and the markup on those products are incredible. It's one, the competition is so incredibly strict that there's not good competition for price management. So all the prices are gouged. That's why you pay $17 for an ice cream scoop, and we're drastically overpaying everything. Trust me, I've been in the military nearly my entire adult life, and I think that they need to eviscerate the DoD budget. I gave a bunch of equipment to Al Qaeda. Yeah. I want the MRE ravioli. I'll send you a package. I got a bunch of them. The Army alone spent $3 million on crab legs. I gotta love me some crab legs. 5207 here on ES. Still flat on this little range. I work for a very large municipal agency. It's no better here. Ooh. Top wick. Come on, fail it. Come on now. 52.13. Still holding. He must be a contractor. Yeah, they know, man. Its prices are crazy. All right, you see Microsoft breaking out still. Apple's still flagging to go higher. NVIDIA. So a lot of the tech names are still recovering a lot here. All the X sectors are obviously heavy rated. Banks are still dropping though. The banks aren't feeling much love at the moment. XLF, XLV is getting smoked. XLY is flat. XLP is getting smoked. XLU is getting smoked. XLE is getting smoked. A lot of the X's, most of the X's are getting hosed right now. XLK is the only one that's in a strong uptrend like this. So once again, tech is the one saving the market. Yeah, they are. They are identical. Yeah. VIX is 52.38, 42.38. I'm sorry, after dropping down. Is an ES closed below 5,200 bad? Well, right now the market has wiped out so much support and structure in the market in one candle. It's pretty egregious. I would say their main oh crap level right now is between 50.86 and 50.40. So that 40-point little structure range right there. If they close under that, then it's time to start bringing out the violins and playing some music on the deck. It was a pleasure serving with you. That type of thing. Number 5 is alive. Johnny 5. Saw a video where a person looked at their Walmart order history, found a grocery order from 2019, and hit reorder, and their total was just under 400% higher. Yep. Absolutely. Have the benefits you receive from the military outweighed any of the possible negatives you have endured over the years? I know that answer is different for everyone. I personally have had a fantastic experience in the military. So they have obviously trained me to be a military pilot, which normally in the civilian world costs thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars to become a pilot. I've got to fly some pretty dang cool aircraft all over the world, do some pretty cool stuff, and make a lot of money. Military members make a lot more money than you think, because a lot of it's tax-free or tax-benefited, not to mention I did very well with the TSP. There are two different types of people when you want to join the military. So if you have kids that are looking to join the military, or you are yourself looking to join the military, you have the people that they let the military use them for whatever they want, and you have the people that use the military for what they want. I was the latter. I was the one that I used the military for what I wanted. I didn't let them use me. If you let them use you, they're going to put you in security forces or infantry. You're going to be, you're not going to enjoy your time. I went in saying I want to be a pilot, and that's what I did, because I had the college degree, I had the intellectual capability. So, anyone use other prop firms? Take Profit Trader has similar rules to Top Step. I've heard good things about Take Profit Trader, but I haven't used them. The printer is coming. Yeah. ES is still pinned 52.11. We are pinned flat here, right at this level. So I'm just being very patient. Do we have ion cannons in space? That's a Space Force. There's some pretty cool stuff. You have no idea. No idea. A crayon eater here. Nice. How did you figure out the interactive brokerage platform? I keep getting NBO crap, paper trade. Thanks, fully under flying. Very smart. Yeah, and I'm an officer. I am an officer, yep. So within interactive brokers, I just watched some YouTube videos and some streamers that used it and kind of picked up a couple of pointers. I got into there myself and I looked, how to trade it, or how to get in there, how to execute, picking the right data feeds, because there's 1,000 different feeds you could choose from, which products you want to trade. And then I went to the Mosaic and I set it up exactly how I want. That's the beautiful thing about the Mosaic. There's two different ways you could trade IBKR. Well, I guess 3 different ways technically. You could trade on their website, which I don't really recommend. I downloaded the Trader's Workstation, which is the desktop platform. And then on the desktop platform, you could trade either the Classic or the Mosaic. The Classic is what the old school stuff that a lot of people know IBKR are looking at. It's pretty rudimentary. But the Mosaic, you can customize it however you want. You could literally create your own broker, which is fantastic. You can make it analytic, you can make it execution, you can make it option chain, you can make it futures, stocks, whatever you want that's tailored to. And I've tailored my IBKR experience to strictly execution, no analytics. So look into the mosaic. Does IBKR have a flat and close all feature? Yes, they do. If you go into your account settings on your TWS, you'll see close all positions. It gives you a warning though that it closes at market, so just be careful. You may not get the best fills. When are you testing that new service? Pretty soon. I'm going to see if I can get it started this week. What's up, Hayden? How you doing, buddy? I'm sure you're hearing some crazy stuff around the Vine today. Yeah, you can create a bunch of hotkeys as well. What new service? A company called ORATS reached out to me and see if I wanted to collaborate with them. And I was like, I have no idea what the product is. Let me try it out, and I'll let you know. If it's something I believe in, I'll take a look. I don't want to push any product at all that I don't believe in. Not yet. Not yet. Haven't had a lot of time to look it up, but I'll look it up. Did Lee-Rat make it? Yeah. All right, ES is still hitting 5207 here. I still use Apex. Never had a payout issue. Also use TS. Support there is their biggest issue. There you go. You're welcome, Eric. Thanks for your wisdom. We would be lost without it. You're welcome, Eric. Thanks for the support and hanging out with us. Alrighty. You can do a lot of it yourself if you harvest the info from your broker. Every broker has almost an API you can pull time and sales from. There you go. I definitely need to look into doing a little bit more customized stuff like that for sure. Natural gas is pretty good to trade. Check it out if you guys want. Natural gas is a widowmaker, man. That thing will move on you so fast. If you're right, you can make a ton of money with NG. That was a popular name to trade in the Russian-Ukraine crisis 2 years ago. When you download this new application, unless you really trust it, I would not download it on a computer that has your broker. Oh yeah, I'm not going to. I never download anything unless I have full faith that it's a real product. Especially on this computer. Are all of your trading platforms up and running? Right now, IBKR is working for me at the moment. I had some connection issues earlier, but seem to have resolved themselves. Well, I'm looking back. Your long-term thesis from back in March, April is coming to roost. Would you mind walking through what you expect to see in the next 12 months? Absolutely, Hayden. So yeah, my thesis was significant drawdown going into, at, or around the rate cut cycle. Right after we got through the July phase, now we're approaching the September phase, which the federal funds rate have all but priced in the rate cut cycle. So right now, the federal funds rate is pricing in a 100% cut. I'm sorry, 25 basis points got 100% probability of a cut in September, and then another 80% probability of a cut in November and December. I'm sure that's much higher now that this stuff is happening. So we are approaching that rate cut cycle. So overall, my thesis is, my original thesis was anywhere between the next 6 to 12 months, we're going to have a VIX over 50 with extreme volatility. Obviously, we've already gotten that here. It happened a lot quicker than I thought. So going forward from here, I don't really know what to expect with the VIX. I expect that we're still going to have extreme volatility, but at what point does the VIX go higher? Um, I don't know if that happens in this cycle or if the market rebounds and then happens again. I just think overall the net result out of all of this stuff will be a 25 to 30%, the 25 to 30%, 5% drawdown on the equities and a VIX over 50, holding over 50. I just don't know when that's going to happen after this happening so quickly. I did not expect this to happen this quickly. So I don't know if you were around. July 10th is when I started to short the market. That's when I began to play the downside exposure on the market and go heavy into downside, looking for downside and not necessarily buy the dip. And I don't know how far that's going to continue here. We still have a month until we have to cut rates. So we have a lot of time between here and there. And obviously, going back to 2023, is that this bear market seasonality can go on for a prolonged period of time, 2-3 months. So I do expect lower prices. I do expect higher VIX, aside from any kind of whipsaw price action back and forth. The overarching picture above all of that, everything I just said, above all of that, one level higher, is the rotation into bonds, the flight to safety trade, which is occurring right now. The yields went off almost 5%. The bonds rocketed to levels we haven't seen in a year or so. VIX went obviously very high, so the MOVE index went crazy. So the markets were scrambling to flood into the treasury trades for the flight to safety, which is another thing we were looking for, and that appears to be coming to fruition as well. So overall, I do think that the high is in for the year. I don't think we'll put in another high this year. I think we're done with that. Whether or not we do have another green move, which I'm sure we will, I don't think we'll put another high in this year. 50-point cut rate in September is 90%. Also, they upped it to 50 points. 50 basis. Nice. Yeah, so it's coming. It's coming. The rate cuts are coming. My dad has 100% of his long-term port in PNG at 45. What should he do? He must maintain at least 40% PNG to their 401k rules. Let me take a look. He's long from 45. They have a broadening formation, and their high side is a new so they just put a new all-time high in. In fact, today they put a new all-time high in, but they are rejected it. I guess he doesn't have the option to write covered calls. Oh, he's 45 years old. Oh, okay. I thought you meant he's long from 45. He's been holding since 2000, so he probably has a better entry than 45. So what's his entry? Yeah, it's probably, holy crap, it's probably in the single digits. So in 2000, it was $27, $28. So he's got a fantastic entry. I think it should be able to handle. I don't see them. I mean, even during coronavirus, they only dropped like 20-30% and then bounced right on back up. So I think they're doing fine. I think they'll be able to absorb a lot of this stuff pretty healthy. Their pre-corona levels are 130. So even if we drop from here from 170, you're only talking about a 40-point move on the stock, which is a big move. That's 30% of the stock. But you're not talking about an overall crash down into single digit or something like that. So that's a pretty slow, pretty low risk name to hold. I would definitely, if it began to take out 150 or so, I'd probably start trimming and just re-add at the bottom if he's able to do that. But I think that one should be able to hold up. Does that make sense, Hayden? Did I answer your question? How probable is an emergency Fed cut? Right now, I would put a 10% chance on emergency cut right now. We're not there yet. I think a lot of people are freaking out, but we're not there yet into where they need an emergency cut. Go look at what happened in 2008. Look what had to happen in the market and the economy for them to come out and actually cut 100 basis points in an emergency meeting. And it got really bad when they had to do that. Right now, this is just one single day. Yes, it's a huge amount of selling, but it's just one day. Now, if this continues, I will increase the probability on emergency cut. But right now, I'm not there yet. Yeah, no financial institution to bail out yet. VIX is still pulling back nicely, 40 and dropping. The VIX has gone from 160% to 71% today. I told them he could diversify more because he's retiring about 10 to 15 years. It would suck if he retired. PG's down 40%. I mean, I think the time is there. If that's the case, he's maybe might have enough time, 10 to 15 years, for the market to crash and then rebound back to these levels. Maybe. He's going to be right on the cusp. I mean, that's about what it took, about 10 years for the 2008 crash to kind of get back, a little less than 10 years to really start to hit the high points again. So he might have enough time before it to crash now, but I agree. I wouldn't want him to sit through a 40-50% drawdown. I would set stops. I would trim out positions, go to cash a little bit, at least some of it, not all of it, and then rebuy at the bottom. Or if he knows how to write cash secured puts on the account, or I'm sorry, covered calls on the account, he can draw a little income on that. This is an overreaction in the market. I don't think this is an overreaction. No. I think this is I think the upside move from October till November, that was the overreaction. This is the reaction to the overreaction. Do you think the VIX associated with warships is going to Israel, a potential war? I think that will result in a potential war, but I don't think this is because of that. My dad has little market knowledge. He just put everything in the P&G yearly. Yeah, he obviously worked out really well for him. I would definitely diversify a little bit and just try to look into some protection. And we've been flat for an hour and a half here, hour and 10 minutes. $52.23. All liquidity on NASDAQ has pretty much been wiped. Gotta shake out some puts. Yep. I believe so. To summarize, please correct if I'm wrong, you expect more downside to come and additionally more volatility to come. Yep. Additionally, we're going to see a heavier rotation of bonds going forward with our high for the year probably sticking to where it currently is. Yep. Yeah, I think the high is in for the year for the S&P with this move. Nasdaq's been pumping in around 200-point range. Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's a great range if you want to scalp that, but I'm waiting for a directional play. A little bit more red. Look at this. NASDAQ just rotated back down again. So still every single green candle is liquidity. Look at the 30-minute chart. 30-minute chart is now nothing but top wicks again. So they're using every upside thrust to fill liquidity, to fill that buy side liquidity. Will you be posting about your directional plays? Yes. I think 4,800 is a possible target on the SPX. Overall, absolutely. I mean, I think lower than that. But absolutely, yeah. Have to factor in some of the earnings disappointment we've seen this quarter too. Yeah, I think that's incidental. But yes, absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, if y'all wouldn't mind hitting that like button on the stream, if you like what you see, if you want to hang out a little bit more, appreciate that. Help the streams grow. Yeah, nice top wick there. That's an aggressive top wick across the board. Again, we're still trying to get out of this range. But that was yet again another 30-minute top wick to use that liquidity to shift lower. Can you explain the significance of the 2-10 yield curve inversion vis-a-vis stock market? Yeah, so 2.5 years ago, the yields inverted, which means the 10-year yields were higher than the 2-year yields. I'm sorry, the 2-year yields were higher than the 10-year yields, which means the market was basically pricing in a weak economy, the 210 inversion yields. So everyone talked about it for a whole bunch of time, and then people stopped talking about it because they went inverted and they stayed inverted, and the market kept on climbing. So people are like, all right, well, I guess that's no longer a valid indicator. Well, now I know they were uninverted today. I think they're back to being inverted. So they're kind of at the pivot point where they're inverting, uninverting, inverting, uninverted. So now look at them. I mean, right now the 2-year is 3.85, the 10-year is 3.74. So they're now back to being inverted. So the 2-year yields went from being down 5% to now only being down 0.7%. So the yields have completely recovered almost all of their drop today. And we'll see if they give that back because now the bonds are buying back up here. I don't really know what to make of it because it hasn't done what it normally does when it's inverted for this long. And now it's starting to uninvert as the market drops back over. So all I know right now is that the yields are starting to price in the cuts that are coming, and the bonds are starting. People are starting rotating to the bonds to lock in that premium, and down the markets go. Nice little red candle here. Nasdaq is still down to 947. Margins back to normal. Top wicks galore in the 30-minute. Is this a good move? Buy TLT shares slowly, dollar cost average. When it sells, they stop, rate cut, and sell for profit. Use that to buy long-term stock. I mean, over the course of long-term, that's exactly what's going to happen. What's going to happen now is the market's going to rotate out of equities into bonds. You're going to see down on equities, up on bonds to a certain point, and then when they come out, emergency rate cuts, and they start the quantitative easing, where they start to reintroduce supportive measures in the market, you'll see it flow back out. You'll say not instead of flight to safety, you'll see flight into risk, or risk on is what people will start calling it, the risk on trade, which is where the bonds will start to crash. Well, not crash, but they'll come off, and money will flow back into the equities, and then that's it. No more talk of bearishness, up and up, 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 up and away. And I'll see you in 15 years. I'm sensing from Phenomenal Making Millionaires podcast coming from this. Absolutely. Yep. So far, no problems on IBKR right now. ES is coming down. NASDAQ is coming down 900 again. The big trigger here for downside is going to be about 860. 860. NASDAQ is starting to clear lower here. You're welcome, Walker. You're welcome. Nice. Nice. Do I use black box stocks to watch other bigger option orders? I don't. Charles Schwab deactivates the login page to prevent people from accessing their accounts. Is that true? Still looking through here, looking at the data, checking some option stuff here. We have 50.85 still. Now 50.75 is still the change. 50.75 is overwhelmingly the large flow on the option chain at the moment. Sorry. I've been locked out of my accounts all morning. TOS isn't working on desktop. $2 trillion wiped out from the stock this morning. Yep, IBKR is working fine. Working fine. So you think the rate cuts will push the market up immediately or start the bull run? I think the rate cuts will be the trigger for a large downside move, but I could see a scenario where the initial rate cut will result in a first move up and then roll over. The rate cuts are bearish. Now, considering that we are in an environment which we haven't really seen ever or in a long time, that if they dump this thing too far too fast before the rate cuts, then it could do an opposite effect. But I think overall, the effect of the cuts is down until they shift into a supportive policy measures, and then it'll go up. Will we get another move like this like the overnight session? That I don't know. Apple's about to put another high of the day in here, and we are still chopping back and forth in this little 200-point range on NASDAQ. $19.982. Finwood is adamant about buying leaps today. I think they're going to have a rude August. I told y'all, man. I told y'all that all the buy the dip crowd is going to get smoked this year because they don't know how to play a real market. They only know how to play the relentless buy the dip. The people that have only traded in 2020 until 2024, they're going to have a rude awakening this year. All you have to do is survive the next 18 to 20 months to get back inside a real bull market, and then you can go back to blindly buying the dip. You got to be patient. $2020 is crazy. I just want to join your server. Nice dub. Yeah. I love the way you say little 2.0. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of those days, man. VIX is still rolling down 39.53. So it looks like the fade the VIX trade still was the way to go despite the massive move. What's my favorite jet? My favorite jet is the A10. I love it. I've never flown it. I've never been in one, but I would love to. I traded SPY options today using options flow. Over $1 million in puts made SPY big green candle, and the call sweeps dropped it back down. Nice. The Warthog, yeah. We know you have to tell us you haven't. Yeah. VIX is still rolling off here. NASDAQ is back to 18. ES is back up to 52.25. What was your airframe? I've told y'all what I flow, right? What I'm currently on, at least. I've flown a couple of different platforms, but what I'm currently on. Big green, 52.30. Look at Apple. Apple is squeezing. Squeezing. 18.06, 18.07. VIX is rolling off again. I remember having an A10 and I'm old now. Yeah, that's an old airframe too. But NASDAQ is flying now. About to put a new high of the day in for NASDAQ. Going. Oil still rejecting. Gold is climbing up here too. NASDAQ. Thinking of switching to IBKR. Do I use IBKR Pro or Lite? I use Pro. Say Pro. I think that's every ground use for every unit sold in the film when I saw the first time in Training Access. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. 18103. Apple's flying. And we were right back to the top of the range here. We technically put a new high of the day in by a couple of ticks. But ES is still got upwards into 53.25, and they're still rolling off bonds. So the flow in and out, in and out. Watch for the whipsaw. Yep. Didn't know you're a pilot. Yep, I'm a pilot. I can fly. Great movie. Yeah. So far, though, we're still set up for the next move here. Unfortunately, all the fun was pre-market. 063. $18.09. I delivered to a couple private airfields near McKinney, Texas. You'd be amazed how much a pilot makes. Oh, I know. I know. A lot of our pilots will go part-time and they'll go fly for FedEx or UPS. And it's crazy how much money they make. 52.40 here on ES. Already that's a 40-point candle. And they're hanging out right here. But we are on the verge of grabbing that 53.25 here. And that would put us another 90 points up, 80 points up. VIX is still rolling off, so they are rolling that VIX all the way over at the bell. NASDAQ's breaking out, yeah. $142. And going. Right now. Major put selling is happening still. So as of, let's see, 11:56, they started rolling the puts hard. 10:56, I'm sorry, 10:56. They started rolling the puts hard. And now we're in major put selling territory here. So they're still just rolling off everything, taking profit. I got an email saying that you can't trade limit up, limit down periods on my prop. Anyone know what that is? I guess when we're starting to go towards the limit down measures, even though we got, I guess we did get technically close, but we are still within 2% of it. Somebody ping, got a notification here. No. I bet it was one of those, this is what they're talking about type things. 400 points to V recovery. Yep. Which is not that far away now. If they keep rolling the bonds off, that is a possibility. They're just shaking people out. Right now it's heavy put selling. Major put selling at the moment. Anything past a 0 DT is ridiculously expensive. Yeah, I'm not even looking at options right now. Strictly futures. Do you like the movie Top Gun? They are great movies for cinematics, but both of those movies are complete garbage in terms of realism. But fantastic movies for actual like watching it cinematics. What ticker should I watch for bond activity? I personally watch TLT and the 3 yields, which is the 2, 10, 30 years. You're welcome. Props hitting the inbox with discounts. Oh yeah. I'm sure Apex is about to start slinging some 90% off accounts here. They're like that. Scarface GIF where he's counting all his money. VIX still rolling off 37.09, so they're just liquidating all downside positions here, taking profits. They're gonna do a buy 10 get 10 free. Oof. Well, it's pretty thing. It's pretty same thing as BOGO, isn't it? If you're doing all 20, push it to the limit. 53.25 liquidity, 4,000 orders. That appears that's where they're going to try to go here. There's no real signs of any major downside here. Every single top wick, which has been a bunch of them, they've been able to fill it back up. So they're climbing above 18,110 here. ES is creeping just above. They haven't broken out yet like NASDAQ has, but they're trying to. And I'm still just watching. I'm not trading futures. I'm not trading options. I'm only trading futures here, but I'm being very patient, waiting for a good move. The VIX still rolls off. Lagging rhythmic connection. Yep. The slippage is my biggest thing with props. I could deal with the other crap. It's intermittent, but the slippage, I hate. When you put a limit order on it, it feels for like 5 points different from what you put the limit order on from. It's aggravating. But that's what happens when you're playing sim accounts like that, you know. It's all fugazi. I'd love to see the amount of blown accounts that Apex has on a day like today. You know they're willing to make it. Yeah, I mean, all of them are. $52.40. Thoughts on the prisoner hostage exchange with Russia? I'm glad to see him finally home. I've noticed as soon as the put sweeps come on, the markets move the underlying against the orders. Yeah. The bigger the order like that, the more it's going to be challenged, especially if it's not a market-wide sweep. If you have a whole bunch of sweeps coming in there, the most likely you're going to see some correlated movement there. But if you see a player come on and put a smack down a big order like that, then they're going to play against it, yeah. Because one, we don't know what the traditional strategy is of that move. But two, I mean, you're absolutely right. That's the mechanics of the option chain. Do props let you trade 24/7? Same thing, settlement to settlement. Top Step closes, what, 3:10 my time, 4:10 y'all's time? So, but I do not scalp pre-market stuff. I will trade directional pre-market, but I will not scalp pre-market stuff. The market's too slow, and I'll end up getting caught in a trade and have to sit there at 2 o'clock in the morning for 2 hours waiting for the trade to come back. So I'll play directional, but that's it. All right, green coming up here again. NASDAQ is climbing, 164. Looks like we're going to take out the next level. NASDAQ still going. If we make more than the target on Apex eval, do we lose the profits when we move to price action? Yes. So the evals, you don't carry any of that money over to the funded account. So if your target is like, let's say 3,000 and you happen to make 7,000, you're zeroed back out. You're funded, yes, but when you open up the funded account, you start at zero. Market zero. Can you explain what that means by directional versus scalp? Yeah. So, right now, for example, technically I'm still going to play directional. I see what you mean. But like right now, for example, I could play a 15 or 30 minute cycle because the market's moving so aggressively. When I find a pivot, I could place the trade and then see if my thesis plays out. But overnight, the price action moves so slow that a 5 to 10 point move on ES could take 2-3 hours instead of 5 minutes. So if I take the trade and I'm momentarily wrong and I'm letting the thesis play out, then I have to sit here and watch that trade for a long period of time. Whereas if I'm just going to put on a directional trade based on confidence, I'll set the trade, I'll set my limits, my stop loss, my profit, and I'll close the broker and I'll go to bed and forget about it and see if I can get a 200 or 300 point move on NASDAQ. Which is something I do frequently. I do that with micros frequently. But I do not sit there and scalp like this right here at nighttime. I will not sit here at the computer. Now, last night I was at the computer for a good amount of time, and I held my short for a good portion of that move, but that was a rare occasion. I've been waiting for this move for a very long time. Yeah, Apex is making a ton of money. Looking through here. Can you tell us why you like Top Step over Apex? I'm thinking I should move to Top Step as well. Just my personal preference and my personal trading strategy. My personal trading strategy does not work with Apex's rules because I do dollar cost average into micro positions. I've never had a problem getting a payout on Top Step, and Apex denied me my payout. So my system does not work with their rules. I'm not going to call them a scam or anything like that because they do pay people, but it doesn't work for my system. Top Step has never questioned anything I've done in terms of getting payouts. Any parameters on TRL stops on options? A really bad idea. Also, OPTS seems close to the dollar to make a play. Let's see. I'm not familiar with those names. They are TRL. That one looks like it's been pinned since May or March. I'm sorry. So that one's not a big mover. So I would pick that one cautiously. Their major support is about 120, 130. So. And massive bottom wick on the daily. Colossal bottom wick on the daily for ES. Apex will allow one DCA, and that second average down size is unlimited size. Yep. I mean trailing stops. Sorry, my abbreviations. Yeah. Any parameters on trailing stops on options? When you're dealing with options, especially short-dated options, it's very difficult to put on a set trailing stop, unless you're strictly going to lock in a certain percentage point. So for me, I want to set some sort of trigger where when the stock or the underlying hits a certain price, that's when I'm going to start setting my stops on the S&P or on my options. So when my thesis breaks down is when I'm going to start trimming my positions or getting out of positions altogether. That's my personal take on them. Now, when you're trading long-term options, you've got a lot more wiggle room. It's not as simple. You can start to bring in a lot more choices when you're trading long-dated options than simply just closing or opening. But with zero DTEs, you pretty much got to let them breathe 30 to 40%. Otherwise, you're going to get stopped out left and right. Am I lagging or is OM? I don't know. Haven't heard any complaints about that yet. I hit all the Wall Street bet insane dollar wins posts. Just contributed to feelings of FOMO for sure. Yeah, why do you think I keep that crap out of here? Because that is not conducive to learning. Well, there's two reasons. One, it's not conducive to learning. And two, there's always somebody out there that makes more money than you. So bragging is not it. Trust me, man, it's hard. Sometimes I want to blast my wins, but it doesn't do anything. And I know like Agnostic is probably making way more money than I am. So why am I going to brag? 52.50 on ES coming up. VIX is still rolling off here, and it looks like we are going to continue to track higher. 186 on NASDAQ. We are now within striking distance of the 53.32. Massive bottom wick on the daily charts on ES and NASDAQ. NASDAQ is getting very close to flipping green. Very close to flipping that candle green. Do I think low of the day is into today? Woo, man. It's looking likely. It's looking likely. On the week, probably not. On the day, it's looking likely. I try not to set too hard of biases for these style of moves, but it's looking likely. How long did it take you to become confident in the strategy you chose for yourself? Well, my strategy has evolved over 13 years now. You know, it's been a completely evolving, breathing animal of learning different types of risk exposure. Not to mention, as my account has gotten bigger, I've had to adjust some things and trim things because of the emotional part. I'm just some poor little jabroni. I've had to get used to trading with the dollar amounts that I've been able to trade, and it's not easy. But it took me 3 years to finally become consistent in my abilities to turn a profit. Consistently turn a profit. I wasn't always profitable, but it took me 3 years to get to the point where I could realistically count on my system to be able to weather some storms and provide me with some income. And even then, it wasn't much income. It was just a little bit here and there until I was able to put together some more scratch and put the money back in the market and grow and grow and grow, and put me in a place where I could buy the dips into coronavirus and make a pretty good amount of money. Yeah, yields are climbing and bonds are rotating over. VIX is rolling over, so it has all the signs of money flowing back inside the equities, and it's providing us with a pretty healthy bottom wick here. How influential was biotech to OM's trading maturity? Very influential. In my opinion, that trade was the most influential trade I've ever had in my life. It taught me a great deal. But more importantly, I let it teach me something. Some people take losses like that and they don't learn from it. They just get smacked in the face and they just stay down whimpering on their knees. But you've got to learn that when you get smacked in the face, you got to get back up and say, try it again. See what happens. See what happens. Who said I whimpered? Yeah. If you pass your prop account, do they give you a permanent real account, or do you have to continue with your profit? I don't know. I can't speak for all the props, but if you have a prop firm, you pass the account and they give you a funded. The funded account is still simulated trading. It's not real money. You're just trading on an algorithm that they present that they may or may not use your trades to copy and make money, and they provide you with the profits and a profit sharing mechanism. Now, some props, if you become consistent enough with a long haul, they will transition you into a real live account, which you can put money in, your own money in too, into that prop account to bolster your balance. I'm in that phase of the journey right now. Yeah, but you have to learn from it, and you have to and you have to adjust your what you're doing wrong. If you do a bunch of crap wrong and you lose money, and then you rebuild and do it again, are you really learning anything? At that point, you're not failing, you're just wasting money. If you continue to do what you know is wrong, that's not failing. You're not failing over and over again, you're just wasting time and money. It's only failure if you learn from it, if you change and try to adjust. I'm not convinced we keep going up here on ES. Volume and CVD are not high enough to confidence for me. I'm wearing out the market fist with my face. There you go. There you go. Your fist hit my face, sir. Is this price upticking from sellers closing from last week's entries? I think this is exactly that, yes. I'm still seeing put selling on these moves and call selling. So I'm not seeing a lot of call buying here. I think a lot of this has to do with covering positions, rolling off positions, and kind of just undoing some of the damage from the nighttime. But we'll see. There's still a good deal of selling in this, but there's just enough. There's still enough buying here to shift the market higher. I've been listening to Trading in the Zone. Thanks to everyone here. That's a huge help. Yep, fantastic book, Trading in the Zone. By the way, if especially there's a whole bunch of new people on YouTube today. If you haven't already, go buy and read Trading in the Zone. Or if you have Spotify, it is free to listen to the audio version on Spotify. So go to Spotify, Trading in the Zone, and hit play. Stop listening to whatever the crap you're listening to, Lady Gaga or something, and instead go listen to Trading in the Zone. What time is it? Man, it's already 11:30. Time flies when you're having fun. Don't be hating on Lady Gaga. Oh my gosh. Mr. Tony Montana talk about. Oh, jeez. Mr. 50, do you know? I think you were gone when I talked about this. Somebody commented on my one of my YouTube videos that holy crap, not Lady Gaga. That Linda Rasky was a known fraud. Did you hear that? I was like, where did you get your information? Because after I saw that, I was like, and I Googled it, and I don't see anything about it. I did see that she started a call-out service in 2010 area, and apparently didn't do well. She just started a call-out service in the early 2010s, and the room didn't do very well. But other than that, like, I didn't see anything that she was a quote-unquote proven fraud. So I was curious why somebody would say that. Same reason they say it about you. Yeah, well, I definitely don't want to equate myself to her because she's a much better trader than I am, obviously, but I see your point. Exactly. Who cares? Call-out servers don't really work in the long run anyway, but she gets it, yeah. What's my favorite weapon? Caliber 7.62. What's my favorite weapon? I have a lot of favorite weapons. My favorite handgun caliber is 9mm, just because it's so versatile. Favorite rifle caliber? Probably a 5.56, just because again of the universal nature of it. You give me a 5.56 with a decent rifle that's sighted in, I can reach out to 550 yards max effective range, iron sights. I could do a lot with that. But the problem is, if you put me on a sloped roof, man, that's terrible. Nobody can shoot off a sloped roof. So, not 1145 ACP. I mean, obviously a 45 is fantastic. It's just I think it's overkill in a lot of situations. Not to mention my thinking is, would I rather have, like right now, I've got an STI 2011 double stack that fits 20 rounds. So would I rather fit 20 rounds of a 1911 or a 9mm in my STI, or would I rather fit like 8 rounds in my 45? I think I'd rather have 20 plus one in the chamber, so 21 rounds. Anyway. Everything Mark Douglas did in the past is a truly gift to everyone trading. His workshops were also some of the most educational trading. Yeah. Yeah, Mark Douglas is good stuff. 7.62 by 3.9. I've got some of that. I've got an old Moisans Nagant that I've got the 7.62 3.9s in. I think that's the same thing as a 30 cal, isn't it? Isn't that 30 cal a 7.62 3.9? Or is it very similar? Anyway, I'm kind of getting off on a tangent here. 52.48 currently. NASDAQ is 18,116. Schwab booted me 30 minutes ago and I haven't been able to log back in. Glad to close out my positions. I don't trust the market right now. Yeah, that's happened a lot. A lot of brokerages were getting hosed, man. Lots of weirdos with their opinions on the internet. Dude, coming from someone who didn't spend much time on the internet to now getting exposure to a lot of crazy people, you have no idea. There are people out there that are insane. It's scary. The DMs that I've gotten in the past would shock you. Was there such thing as a prop firm when you started trading? Yeah. Prop firms have been around for a while. Now, the prop firms that we know of to today are kind of new. Honestly, I don't know for sure how early these style of prop firms traded because I didn't start touching these things until about a year ago. I've always, stayed away from it. Even then, I only tested them because, it became a pretty popular thing I wanted to give my opinion on. But there's always been prop firms, but professional prop firms is something that's been around, which means if you're a qualified trader, they'll put you on your payroll, they'll give you credit, that type of thing, and you trade. A real prop, quote unquote, real prop firm trader. But the stuff that we know of today, I don't know. Like S&B Capital, that type of thing. Oh, I'm in the inbox of absolute jabronis. Yep. Lots of weirdos seeing families and jobs out there. Makes me never want to do what you do. Lots of weird. Yeah, why do you think I like the community where it's at, man? I don't put up with that crap. I'd ban you instantly, and I'm proud of it. I think we have a pretty good group here, though. A couple of jabronis, but I think we have a pretty good group here. I'm happy with it. I'm very much an anti-stress guy. Hey, now. All right. 5250 ES right here. All right, new high right there, 5260. Coming up. Looks like they're going to grab that 25, man. It's a straight on uptrend since 8 o'clock this morning. Still going. NASDAQ's about to put another high in, too. And we're coming up on a 1,000-point recovery on NASDAQ. 1,000 points. Crazy me. Am I the jabroni? Yeah, Guy had called it. Yeah, I mean, look, the bonds are rolling off. The equities are jumping. The yields. The 2-year yields are now green. The 2-year yield was down almost 5%, and now it's green. They've completely recovered the yields. The VIX is rolling off. The bonds are coming back down, and the equities are flying. It's recovered, what, 800 points here? A little more? It's crazy. It's crazy. It's crazy stuff. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. People can never appreciate the darkness in people until you execute a search warrant on their house, their computers, or phones. Lots of sick stuff. Yep. I think 5260 is the target on SPX. That would put us right in that, right inside this ballpark. Yeah. Yep. How was trading while being active duty? Did you have enough free time? I mean, there were periods where I would have to go a week or two, 3 weeks without really doing much, which is why most of my trades were swing trades and or long portfolio. So I didn't really start doing a lot of scalping until 2020. Until then, it was a lot of just long-term swings and multi-week, multi-month holds. So it did help though that my out after 2015, all my schedule was flying night times. So I was a nighttime flyer, which means I got to, if I wanted to sacrifice sleep and trade during the day, I could. Are there any VPAs to support this move? It got a little. I mean, the double bounce at 8:30 was a great long position. Now it stopped being great for VPA at the 10 o'clock candle. So from 8:30 Eastern until 9:30 Eastern, that was a great VPA move. And then after that, it was top wick, top wick, top wick on the next three candles. So it wasn't great for VPA since 10 o'clock. Come to Texas, dove hunting, jets in the air. I love it. I do love it. I've always wanted to do some hog hunting in Texas. I learned how to trade while deployed. Yeah. And in fact, I've got a lot of members signed up that were deployed overseas who are now back stateside, but they signed up in the server when they were deployed overseas. Do I have an opinion on AMD at these levels? AMD. Well, let me take a look. They're flying. Huge green candle on AMD. They're at a support resistance flip right now, holding. I mean, I would probably tie them into Nvidia, which means they're probably going to have whipsaw price action overall, still going to head lower, but they'll probably have some upside, shake and bake, and probably end up in the 95 area. So a lot of that stuff. $34.70. Refresh. Let's see what this thing is doing now. Put selling, major put selling right here, still. And GEX currently is 5300, but that thing's been all over the place. 5300 would put us 86 points higher, which would put us right on top of this cat right here, 5330. Man, that would be, where would 5330 put us on the charts, though? That's more important. 5330 would put us right back up into the top of this candle. It would flip this candle green. I don't know. That's a huge move right there. How many top wicks will there be? There's a whole bunch of them. That's why I've kind of been just chilling for, an hour and a half now. Is that we're just kind of top wicking all over the place and then moving and top wicking. Do I think Nvidia is done for the year? I don't know. I do think that on the S&P that the high is in for the year. However that plays out, I don't know. Do I trust GEX? Not fully. I don't make decisions 100% off of GEX, but I do use it in my thesis, in my write-ups. Benelli used to be the choice of military favorite shotgun. Um, I like Stogers. Benellis are great, obviously. They're probably one of the best out there, if not the best. What are you using to track X? I currently am using Traditix to track X. If you would have taken a position on the double bounce on NASDAQ, at what point would be the ideal entry? All right, let's go take a look. So, the best entry would have been the retest candle at 845 because I don't want to play the first bounce. I want to play the retest. And you see at 835, it bounced and then rolled back over. And then at 845, it bottom wicked. So that bottom wick closure at 845, the 5-minute chart on NASDAQ, that's where you want to long. And then start to hold the position. So that's a great VPA buying climax there. One further thrust down, major volume comes in, bottom wicks it right off the prior support and macro level for that matter, and up we go. Do I use IBKR desktop? Yes, I do. Yes, I do. So let's see, 18, 52.48 still going. VIX is still rolling off too. Why Mosaic versus Classic? With Mosaic, you can customize it. It's fully customizable. You can pick and play what type of tool or analytic or execution option you want. You can customize it to future trading, stock trading, option trading, whatever you want. It's literally customizable to anything you want to do. That's why it's fantastic. You can even adjust the sizing of it. It's fantastic. It's fantastic. Although I do want to download the beta, Gino. I would like to try the beta. Has anyone downloaded the beta? And what do they think about it? I don't really care for it. Yeah. This VIX daily candle is truly a sight to see right now, regardless of what it closed at. How much fear can you pump to the market over 3 days? It's insane. I mean, look what happened on Friday. We did it on Friday. They popped the VIX 58% on Friday and then rolled it all the way off. Today, they popped the VIX 158% and then rolled it all the way off. So they keep on popping it, mean revert, popping it, mean revert. I mean, they didn't even spend an hour at 64 before rolling it off, whereas in the coronavirus crash, I mean, they held it up there for a couple of weeks. It was elevated for a couple of weeks. Have I been satisfied with Traditix? Yes, I have. I've been looking for a good way to analyze options for the beginning of the week entry. Yeah, I love it. I will recommend two different things. So if you're looking for a tool that you can analyze options chain analytics, if you are not really well versed in options and you want to learn more, I would use Spot Gamma. Spot Gamma has fantastic education, and the dude's super smart, and he types out a weekly summary on what he thinks, what everything means, Vanna, Gamma, the whole shebang. So I would encourage you to try out Spot Gamma if you want to learn about that stuff. If you already are well versed in that stuff and you don't really need to be hand-fed options data, then Traditix is a great option. You know, it doesn't do a good job of educating you on it, but it does tell you great data. It tells you the data, so you could able to filter out and choose what you want. It's not about what it used to be. It's all about who you are. Yeah, on Spot Gamma, he does a founder's note. Yeah, yeah, it's great. That dude, Brent, is super knowledgeable. Super knowledgeable. Those dudes have been on Wall Street for a long time. They're the real deal. Currently investing in IBR desktop app. It looks much better than other apps. Yeah, it looks nice. So as long as the execution is fine and it's still customizable, I'd be willing to switch it. But until then, so yeah. ES is rejecting the morning high range here. Fed official central bank is prepared to step in with emergency measures. Economy has deteriorated sharply. Yeah, right. I'm sure he said that, but God, man. See, this is what look at the change in everything. Not just the economy or the stock market, but look at the political. If you were to got into a coma, God forbid, a month and a half ago, and you come to today, like you'd be like, what world am I in? Did I just shift realities? Like everything has changed so fast in the past 6 weeks, and now all of a sudden the economy went from being amazing to, oh, everything's so terrible we need emergency cut. What was your best and worst trade of all time? Worst trade, I think you all know, was the biotech stock. The biotech stock. Best trade of all time. That's a good question. There are two of them. There are two trades that come to mind. One was buying the S&P at the bottom. When the market dropped in coronavirus, I managed to scoop up S&P at the bottom, as well as a lot of other stuff. That's what put me on the map. But in terms of a well thought out trade, it was the rally in 2021. I'm sorry, 2020 of Amazon. I put a ton of exposure into Amazon I made high six figures in one day. So those are the two trades. Go to the day before the debate. Yeah. Ha, you got it. You got it. Twizzy almost nailed it. Yeah. That was your Jabroni badge trade. Yep. Yep. What do you think happens if there's an emergency cut? Extreme downside for a short period of time. If they come out there and cut, yeah, that's all she wrote. Well, I would think the extreme volatility. Extreme volatility. What were those channels' titles again? I'll write them down. So if you want to learn more, if you want to learn Spot Gamma, I'm typing it out here. Spot Gamma. If you just want the data, Tradietics. Tradietics presents the data in a little bit more aesthetically pleasant format. Like it looks nice. Spot Gamma is fantastic for learning. The write-ups that Spot Gamma does is second to none. You're welcome, Classical. All right, well, we're still paying 52.45. Watch, I'm going to sign off and then we're going to move. What valuable data do I use for IBKR? Honestly, I don't use much data from the IBKR. All my IBKR stuff is strictly execution, with exception to the options chain. I have dabbled in looking at the time and sales on IBKR. I'll still throw it up there from time to time, but I'll use other resources because now I have Bookmap. But it's the option chain itself is the data I get from IBKR. Looking at open interest, looking at the flows in and out of names, out of options, out of this particular strikes. I'm sure there's some tool out there that I could probably get a lot of value out of, but right now I don't want to get to the point where I'm task saturated on trying to look at too many different things. I am trading futures today, yes. I'm not trading options. Let's see. Too many platforms crashed this morning to be a coincidence. This was controlled to stop the panic selling in order to prevent a market crash. I believe it. I've heard of crazier things. Or am I being affected by the hurricane? Negative. Negative. At the money positions right now, we're paying about $24, $26 on SPX with a 57% IV. That's about 300% increase where we normally see at this point. 200%. Biotech officially the craziest thing. My number one saver runner is since July has gone parabolic. I don't know if I should post the percentage gain. Dang. They have hurricanes in Alaska. It's called a polar vortex. Never thought VIX would go this high. Oh, it's going to go higher too. Just got on. Any trade this morning? Yeah, I took a couple trades this morning. The big trade was the overnight stuff though, but right now I'm not in anything. It's been very wiki since about 10 o'clock, so I've just been kind of just doing a little chit chat in here and analyzing, but nothing crazy since then. Hurricane Debbie makes landfall in Florida. Hope everybody's okay. I need to text Lee Rat. Nice, Gaz. Well done. Well done. Short the VIX. I mean, a couple of hours ago, that would have been a great play. They just rolled the VIX down from 66 to 33. Incredible roll on the VIX, which is why the market's in a complete tailwind right now, because they're rolling off all their positions. And up we go. The market is not going to drop until the VIX stops doing what it's doing. Well, I'm a winner guy, yeah. If the USD JPY is recovering, does that mean the Japan intervention is selling U.S. Treasuries? I wouldn't say that on a short time frame. If it starts to macro recover, then we're not quite there yet. This is the first stage of the flight to safety. That's kind of why I like small caps, cheaper than mega caps and market frenzy. I mean, the market frenzy will pay you, especially if you've got 16 million jabronis in Wall Street bets, hitting the buy button. If you could find the liquid ones. Yep. Liquidity is the main problem with those, especially on the options chain. Well, ES is pinned right here at 52.47. NASDAQ is pinned holding the morning range here. The OM sign-off rally could be epic. Tell me about it, which I'm about to do. Can't tell if they're done for the day and just going to stiff put holders, roll it back over. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I don't know. This is obviously a major recovery, and VPA says if they close this hammer candle, the at least have a little bit more upside. But in areas of high volatility, you have to play on your toes. But I will say, as long as they keep killing the VIX like this, the market is not going to go down until that starts to stop. Because right now, mechanics, they're rolling off positions left and right, they're closing out puts, which is corroborated by the trading ticks data. Trading ticks data has got put selling all day long. I do want to get me a online version of that though, because I have to create a lot of content, and I need to be able to screenshot some colored pictures, colored graphs. So the VIX is a potential trade. The shorting VIX futures would have been the best trade there. The IV on the options was pretty high. You probably still would have made money on that kind of a drop though. It's down 110%. It's trimmed 110% though. But yeah. Army proof, yeah. All right, y'all, that's 12 o'clock. I'm going to go ahead and call that a day. No, haven't taken a trade here in a while, but overall, still expect the unexpected. We're in a pretty volatile time here. VIX is still at 33, despite the fact it's dropped down from 66. But expect the unexpected, and we'll see what happens here. Close out. I'll jump back on here in the afternoon and see what's going on into the bell to figure out if we have a good VPA signal. But yeah, any questions, let me know. Ping the channel, use the channel as a resource, and I will see you all bright and early in the morning. I'm out.